Alright, this is my kayak. Not completely done, but I wanted to go ahead and do a video on it. Give me a thumbs up or make any comments. I named the kayak Kinky 1. Painted it on there really good. Came up with the name. It reminded me of this time my Pepaw, we were out eating dinner with the family and someone had a toy out or something, and he just said it was like vibrating, and you know, it was just a toy, but he just yelled out, "That's kinky." And yeah, so this is for you, Pepaw. Thanks, Pepaw. So I'll start with everything that I've done to the kayak. I'll just start at the back. You can see I've installed a trolley system. So it's got a handle here, so I can hold it down and I can pull up here. Let's see if I can show you real quick. Then you can put it in here for when you go out on the water. Comes out like that. And to see it work on that thing, all right. So yeah, I took a block of wood. I carved out the bottom of it so it would lay flat on here, because it's laying on stuff where the kayak has these plastic things that come out. So that's on there flat. It's been painted a few times, probably got like 5 coats on it now, but countersunk probably like 8 holes up here and drilled them into the kayak. And that was after I put on JB weld on the bottom. So this whole thing is JB welded to the kayak, screwed on, and it's got brackets. It's also got a bracket up in here, and then I've filled in everything with caulk just to try to make it look decent, but it's completely waterproofed off even down in there. And this came from one of my wagons, from this wagon I had, so I took it off and secured these poles to this piece of wood here, and then you know, I drilled holes through here and screwed them in, put in screws sideways, spaced it out with some washers, you know, so it would fit in here perfectly. You can see I had to space it out a little bit. These also were on the wagon, so I just put those on there, and this block of wood against this block of wood just makes it fit in there real nicely. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I filled in, you know, all the holes so this can't fill up with water, this metal, and it's got like a lot of coats on there to make sure it lasts a long time. Everything's been reinforced with JB weld through here, even on the bottom here, and yeah, so that's my trolley system. Up here we got a big cooler. Installed these guys, these D-hooks. For all of these, I prepared the surface by using a wire wheel on a drill just to take off some of the material, and then I sanded it, washed it with soap and water. So I screwed this in and JB welded it, so that's not coming off. And that's what I did with, I put a lot of these in here. This one was already on here, you know, I screwed a hole in there to hold it down, but this cooler is not going anywhere. It's on there good, and you can see it's a big cooler, so I can put big fish in there and fillet them up here. I'm gonna put something back here to put my fillet knife and my fillet glove. Some kind of compartment right there. This is my live well, so I can reach behind me pretty easily, undo that. And I mean, really I can leave that left undone when I'm not driving around or whatever, but yeah, this has the this in here. This is screwed into the live well, so you turn it on. I don't know if you can hear it. So that'll feed the air into the bottom of the bucket. And this live well is really big, so I can put the big bait in here that I need, because I'm going to be fishing with those foot-long mullet heads. Here's my new casting net. It's a 10-foot casting net. It's a giant. You can see I drilled a bunch of holes in the bait bucket, or in the casting net bucket, see? Because you're actually not supposed to store the nets in the buckets because they'll deteriorate. But I drilled the holes in there so the air can keep going through there, and it will increase the life of my casting net, as well as have a place for it to go. On this side over here, these are whatever I'm going to fish for. I'll throw it in here out of my big tackle box, so I don't have to have a bunch of stuff with me. But that's been screwed in and sealed with marine sealant adhesive, and it's easy to reach behind me when I'm sitting here and grab what I need. This is one of my tools. Grab the fish and my seat. This little compartment you can put stuff in, but I don't really use it because I got this right in front of me. This is like my safety box slash stuff I need to get to quickly. So, you know, catch a shark, I need to stab it real quick. I'll just stab it in the eye with that. Where I can blow an air horn in his face, you know. I can stab it with this too. Then of course I've got my radio. I've spent a long time learning about this thing. Does so much stuff, but basically you can hit this distress button, and if you have it set up right, it'll contact the nearest person and give them your GPS coordinates and everything, and they'll come and help you out. This thing has different channels for everything: distress and fishing and weather, and if you want to talk to different types of boats, there's certain channels for that and stuff like that. You can also log your trip as you're going. It'll record your coordinates, and you can look at it on a map later, or you can have a friend watching where you're going, and you can set waypoints on your radio and it'll guide you there. You know, it's a GPS. Here's bug spray. Gotta have bug spray. This is a waterproof case. This thing here is waterproof. See, it's got the seal here, so it's waterproof. And then the GPS itself is waterproof. Then I have a waterproof case here. Probably not necessary, but it's got my fishing license in there. And I got extra batteries. This is for the GPS. It already has a lithium battery completely charged there, but in case it runs out, I got this pack here that fits in there. Extra batteries for the GoPro and the bubbler for the live well. So this is an excellent modification here with this box. You know, you can see I did the same thing with the D-hooks. It moves around a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. If it does, it's waterproof, and then I'll just improve the deal. But these things here for my feet, and I can adjust them up and down. Those are pretty nifty. This here is a rod holder. I also have two other rod holders back here. I forgot to show you. One's here, and and then one is on that side right there. And they have these deals here that you can clip onto your rod so it won't fall off. And then in here is a compartment. Just pull it off and you keep your rods, and keep my life jacket in there and stuff like that. But pretty excited to see how everything goes. I haven't taken it out yet with all this stuff, but I'm also excited to see how this holds up here. You know, I had to make this. So yeah, I had to make this thing. I'm improving it a little bit, but basically my stencil to spray paint stuff. So that's what I use to spray paint this. But I'm adding some thickness on the back here, and then I'm gonna cut it out. That way when I push it against here, there's not any cracks. So you can see it's just not clean, you know. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I took a wire wheel and I took all this material off here. Then I sanded it down and then washed it really good. And then I put a coat of black, and then I painted it white, and then I fixed some of the stuff with some gray just to kind of give it a camo look. And then I took this sealant stuff and sprayed it over it, and that stuff really made it dry, and it's really hard, and that made a huge difference, that last coat of sealant on there. So I hope that works out. If it does, I'm gonna add more kinky ones around the boat, and probably add a kinky one to the back of this back here and be perfect there. It's Eagle Talon, made by Field and Stream. It's a 12-foot kayak. It's really heavy, but now I got it to where it can fit in my car really easily. I got a rubber mat that I made to fit over these areas so it doesn't mess up my car, and it slides right in. And I secure these handles here to the handles in my car, and just 2 straps, and easy to get in and out, especially with the trolley system. But this is my paddle here, so it's one of the other modifications I'm going to make, is something to snap this paddle onto whenever I need to put the paddle down, because right now I just have to lay it across and there's nothing to hold it. So yeah, while I'm at it, I'm going to do something that's right next to it, a spear. I'm going to make a spear and put it in there in case I need to stab something. You know, I like stabbing things, so gotta have a spear if you like stabbing things. So this is the compartment that I had all that stuff in. I found a really good tool for this. Is a repair here, but if you're drilling holes in the kayaks like I have been, there's these screws, they're kind of like this one actually, but they're called weld nuts, and they kind of work like rivets, but it's rubber. So you drill the hole and stick it in there, and when you screw in the screw, it bunches up this big knot of rubber on the other side, so it actually waterproofs it at the same time. So weld nuts, look it up if you're a kayak hole drilling enthusiast like I am. Check it out. But this is what it looks like with my poles in here. These poles, this one I put on a big reel on this little pole. So I'm kind of worried about this setup. I had to put a new tip on the other day. See, that's just glue that poured out. But yeah, so I don't know how that tip's gonna hold up. It looks pretty good. I just used Gorilla Glue, sanded down the tip. You know, I had to use an angle grinder to cut off the old one, because the old one was all rusted out and was cutting my line like I was doing casting out in the field here, you know, because you want to do all that before you go out. And sure enough, my line just snapped every time I tried to reel it in. So I had to put on this new tip here, and I got this giant weight on here, and I went and got some 50-pound test braided line. It's like really good stuff there. So I can catch a 200-pound fish on this if the pole holds up. Then my other setup is for, you know, up to 50-pound fish. So I'll put a 3-inch mullet head, or probably 6 inches and below, and then bait that's like around a foot I'll put on this one. But I always use these hooks right here. I think they call them J hooks. But this rod right here I've got on the braided line, of course, with the 20-pound test, and it's a good rod. It actually, I dipped it in the water last time, and so it actually caused it to freeze up, but I took it apart and cleaned it up and cleaned the bearings and everything. And so ultimately I'll need to get new rods and new reels that work for the ocean. These aren't really made for the ocean, but we'll see how long they last. This here is my anchor system. So you reach out, throw out your anchor right here. Just throw out your anchor. You loop your line through here. And then whenever it reaches the right depth, you just tie it off right there, like that, and that's it. Just leave this in here, and you can reach behind you, and you can send the anchor down further if you want to. See? It just depends on whatever angle you like. Alright, and now I'm going to show you how I throw the casting net. This is how I throw my casting nets. Put the loop through my right hand, and I just bring all the line in. I got all that line in my right hand, and I hold the horn right here, make a loop. I make, with these big nets like this, I'd probably make 2 loops. About a third of it, put it up over your elbow, and you just grab another third in this hand. So you got a third here, and then a third over here. And you want to throw it, swing it, throw it in a pretty much it. So I got a third right here, 1/3 in my hand. You can see this part's open. Got a third here and a third here.